All right, testing a couple things here. Looks like we're live on Twitter tonight as well. Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So getting the final touches set up. We'll be right there. Looking forward to it. All right, a little early. I just wanted to, I was messing around with some settings, so I wanted to get, see how everything was going to work. Looks like we're connected just fine. So live on Twitter tonight, the WhysAdvice count. We're live on Facebook as usual, and we're live on YouTube. So I think I figured out the streaming issue, so to get all three going at the same time. So Rebecca checks in from Oklahoma first on Twitter. Good evening to you. Welcome to episode 2. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? There it is. Cool. All right, good evening. Welcome. I saw a bunch of you checking in early on Facebook. Connie is here. Lacey checks in. Terry as well. Jeff says hello. Good evening, Alicia. Lori was about to take a shower. Well, don't do that. Stay for the show. Let's see. Rose from California. Bev is here. Maggie is here from Indianapolis checking in. Good evening to you. Debbie checks in from Tennessee. Hope you're well. Hope you're well as well. Dina's here. Let's see. Rosemary says, great post on Connect today. Certainly got a lot of interest. I just tell it like I see it, you know. Rainy, Vero Beach, Florida. Pennsylvania checks in. Kathy does on Twitter. Keith and Alice check in from New York City. Robin checks in from Dayton, Ohio. Very nice. Robin, also different Robin, checks in from California. Good evening to you. Bev says, first day of running for me, didn't do a lot, but as long as I continue going for it, I will get better. Well, yeah, you went running. Don't put a but in that sentence, right? You went running. Celebrate that. That's pretty cool. Congratulations there. Rockford, Illinois checks in. Coletta, Debbie's here, also out of Rockford. Nice. Good evening to you. Marcia's here. That's yay. Let's see, we have Kelly is here. Melissa says, my first live show. Fun. Hello from Northeast Indiana. Well, hello. We ring a bell. When it's your first live show, I kind of have a bell kind of handy, and we go ahead and ring that to celebrate your existence, and we'll welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. Hagerstown, Maryland. Ronaldo checks in. Nancy is here. Sarah is here. Hello, everyone, she says. Dina checks in. Connie says, I was up 2 pounds last week. This week, I'm down 2.2. Fantastic. Hancock County checks in. Nancy's here. Colorado Springs. Pamela's in the house. Snowy, Wisconsin is here. It's from Jill. Nice there. Becky says, nice Patriot sweatshirt. Yep, that's what I got. So, I'm coming down with a cold, so this should be fun. Betty is over on YouTube saying hi to Karen. Linda from Dayton, Ohio is here. Connecticut joined the gym today. Maria, very nice. Ipswich, Mass. Liz checks in. Let's see who else we have. Terre Haute, Karen's here. Austin, Texas. Lisa, Corey from Connecticut, I got you. Huntington, says Melissa. South Florida, Alicia. Lori's here. Woo! And then last but not least, Krista says, hey, digging out of the snow and saying hello from the UP. Very, very cool. So Southern Maryland checks in, Kathleen. So good evening. Welcome to episode 257. For those of you just joining in, we spent about 10 or 15 minutes just kind of chatting. Nothing more than just kind of catching up, seeing how you're doing, answering some quick questions if you got them. Then we roll into the actual recording of the podcast. So we get that thing rolling. After the podcast is recorded, we come back to this kind of format where we just kind of hang out and chit-chat. Every once in a while, I'm known to go on a little bit of a rant, so you definitely want to stick around for that. So checking out the streams. Looks like live streams are going okay, so I want to make sure we're good there. I got to solve this 3-stream thing. I really want to push out to all 3 platforms at the same time with one camera, and it looks like it's working. So, yeah, it looks like it's working. So Twitter's working, Facebook's working, YouTube is working. So, good. Diane is here. Good evening to you. Southern Maryland checks in. Kathleen, I got you, I think. Oklahoma, Kitty is here. Very cool. So, 257. Got a great show prepared for you. If my voice holds up, we'll see if... Maybe we won't get to a show tonight. You never know. But on 257... we're going to open the show with Stephanie, Maggie, and then Linda chimes in to round us up. We'll talk about the New York trip. New York trip's coming right up, and then I'll always ask you to continue to support the show. Thank you for those who do. Corey's asking me if I've heard from Mindy or Oprah yet. Sadly, no, I have not heard from either, but I've been busy, so there's a good chance that they sent me a text, and I just haven't had a chance to get to it. Maybe that's what's going on. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, so we'll see. Nita says hello. Diane is saying hello to everyone. So that's the show. That's 257. Angela just checks in. Good evening to you. Man, if I get through this tonight with my throat not going raw, we'll be in good shape. But I'm not sure if I can. I'm going to be able to make that happen or not. Marie says, "Are you going to New York City?" Yes, I am. Oh, you're talking to Corey. Got it. Sorry, Corey is going too. Yes, I'm forcing her to go. Amy's saying hi to Diane. Ken's asking, any thoughts on NBC's story of WW? I posted about it on Connect. I posted about it on Facebook. That's as much detail as I'm going to get. I don't want to comment on the public side of it. I just know that I understand the journey a lot, and if they're willing to have a conversation, I'll be willing to lend my expertise on the things that I've learned in my journey. That's as much as I can tell you, you know. Crystal says, any New York details yet? March 24th is the detail. Central Park is the next set of detail. Probably 8 a.m., 9 a.m. If you signed up on FatDag.com, you will get an email shortly, and you'll know what's going on at that point. So go to FatDag.com, click on the international tour link, register for the tour on my website, and then I will send an email when all of that comes to fruition. So cool beans. Cool. So that's the game plan there. So like I said, Stephanie, Maggie, Linda, come right up, and you're going to like those emails, I think. I did when I read them. So very, very, very fun. So let's see. Patty's talking about Southern Maryland. Patty's saying, where in Southern Maryland? Because she's in Hartford County, Maryland. Very cool. Cool. Bev is asking if anyone on Facebook is chatting. Yeah, a lot of people are chatting on Facebook. Delilah is here. Hello. So you may have noticed, so obviously the screen overlays that we have here, we talked about this many months ago. I finally went ahead and pulled the trigger. I now own this software, so that's kind of cool. A little bit pricey, but I think it's worth it. I think it makes it very fun. Sarah's saying, I love that they wanted to rebrand. Maybe they shouldn't have changed the name. It's so iconic. I was trying to read the screen there. So, yeah, I don't know. Trust me, when they make these kind of decisions, I'm sure they don't make them on a whim. So, I'm not going to second guess their decision. What I'm going to offer up is that I have a unique perspective. I have a perspective that I'm willing to offer. That's what I'll offer up. So, if they're interested in having and hearing that and hearing my suggestions, great. If not, great. I'm going to roll on just like I had anyways. So, it's not my job to criticize, right? It's just kind of one of those, you can't criticize someone else's decision when they have a lot more information than the internet is providing. So, whatever, we're going to roll on. But the thing I do know is I'm heavily invested in this community. I'm heavily invested in this process, and I want it to work for every single one of us. So, anyway, there we go. Lee says, just wait till the website is www.www.www.com. Whew, I get it. Very cool. All right, are you ready for episode 257? Let's go ahead and get this done. Let's go ahead and offer this episode to the air. We'll get it out there, get it recording. I think we're all good on this end. Jody says they should refocus on weight loss. Wellness will follow. That was kind of my post. I put it on Connect. I put it on Facebook. I don't believe in going backwards in any way. So I don't think backwards is the answer. But I think as we go forward, I think some slight tweaks here and there certainly could make it better. Catherine says jumped off of Twitter onto Facebook. Like it better here. Cool, good feedback. I think I learned that. I forget which one I like, but Facebook is good. YouTube is good. Twitter's working. So for those of you joining on Twitter, give me a shout out. Say hi. Be kind of fun. So, all right. So let's go. Let's get this done, shall we? Like I said, coming up, we have Stephanie, Maggie, and Linda. But first, let's do some of this. Let's do some Airman water, right? Airman water, fresh from the hills of Carmel, Indiana, from the pipes of Carmel, Indiana, brewed fresh. This is the year. What vintage is this? This is also a 2019 vintage water. It's Airman water, so nice and cold. I took it out a little while ago, so hopefully it's not going to freeze my face when I drink it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. So cheers. Get your water ready. We start every show with a nice tall glass of water. So here we go. Let's do it. Cheers. I'm going to save a little bit in case I need it in the middle of the show. I'm telling you, I'm coming. I'm getting sick. Whoever had the cold in Atlanta, you gave it to me. So we'll see if we can get through this whole show. That's the game plan. If not, then we'll do this thing all over again tomorrow, just like that. Cool beans. 0 points. Beans. Let's get the episode ready. Are we ready? I'm ready. Let's bring this in. Mic check, testing, 1, 2. Audio levels look good all out of the gate. Here we go. Test. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, cool. All right, so Lee says 257 is a nice prime number. Alicia says naturally sourced water from the Earth's atmosphere could have been consumed by a T-Rex. Could have been. Could have been. It's recycled water. Woo. Connie is reminding me to record. We are recording. We're 23 seconds into the recording. Shocking enough. Ginger says hi to Anna. Airplane babe maybe gave you a cold. Yeah. I don't know, but it's been like 2 or 3 days, and I'm just on the verge of getting sick, but I'm not. So, I don't know. let's go ahead and wrap this up before I do get sick. If I have a cold coming, let's go ahead and get this show done before the cold sneaks up on me, shall we? Woo! All right, I'm ready. Man, I hope I can get through this. Woo! Yeah, Lee has got it right. Hi, I'm your cough, 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 FatDag. We'll figure it out. Cool. I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 257 of WhysAdvice. Had a great show last night. Good show tonight. A lot of folks joining us live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter tonight for the first time in a long time and live on Facebook as well. I want to continue with the recap of Atlanta. I didn't go into too much detail yesterday when we talked about the Atlanta trip, but I want to give you some more detail on that as to what I believe is the success in this program. I've talked about it before on so many other podcasts, but coming up into Atlanta, the Atlanta race was, I don't know the number, probably about, I'm going to guess there was 5,000 people in this race. So it was kind of a bigger race than I normally like. We had about 30 or so wingmen there. It was fantastic. So I show up in my red FatDag tour shirt. Makes it very easy for us to find each other and find the group. We got to hang out with the Chick-fil-A cows. They were there. That was kind of cool. They let me in on a little secret. They let me know to get from the starting line to the finish line, all you got to do is move. Move. Yep, so that is the secret that they shared, and we applied that, one foot in front of the other. We went 3.1 miles. We walked all through downtown Atlanta, come across past the mission. This run was for the Atlanta mission. The title of the race was Run in the Cold for Those Who Sleep in the Cold. So that was kind of the game plan there. But the coolest thing about this is that when we come together as a group, very rarely does anyone else in the group know anybody else. This was slightly different. A big group from Noonan, Georgia showed up. Hello to the Noonan 10. So they all showed up for the walk, for the run. So they kind of knew each other. But then there was another group of people who didn't know each other. But by the time we left, we shared email addresses and everyone understood each other. And we left with a group community that once I pull out of Atlanta, they are now able to continue working with each other, inspiring each other, and getting it done. That's the whole point of the international tour. This tour, as much as it's about me, it is absolutely not about me. It's about me when I get to the city, and it's about you guys coming to me because it's the only one you know in that group. But then when I leave, it's about you. And you guys take care of each other when I'm out of there. I can't get back to Atlanta. At best, it'll be next year. So we rely on you guys to make these connections and form them with each other. And then after the race was done, it was, like I said, 3.1 miles. We got done the race. We went into the CNN Center, and we sat there for, I don't know, man, it was like 2 or 3 hours. And we all shared our story, and we were around the table and shared names and shared our stories and just connected with each other. And that's kind of the best part is we spent some time together just truly diving into the journey and finding the true support that we should have had all along. So very cool. Atlanta, again, thank you. Thank you, Atlanta. It was an amazing trip. I truly enjoyed every single moment of it. But it's good to be back in Indiana. So as we've talked about before, New York is coming right up next. Go to fatdag.com, click on the international tour link, and go ahead and sign up. While you're there, on the WhysAdvice podcast link, I got a lot of news coming up, and we talked a lot about building a studio and getting the show into the prime time slot. Here we are. It's recording this live at 10 o'clock at night almost, Eastern time zone. And so moving the podcast production down into an actual dedicated studio, getting a dedicated time slot as I go into retirement, that's going to be the focus and the game plan. You will hear a lot more about that, I promise you, because that is the goal. In the interim, while you're on fatdag.com, click on the WhysAdvice podcast, click on the Become a Patron link. For as little as $1 a month, you can send your support to the show. It gives me kind of a baseline of where to work from so I know what kind of support is out there so I can figure out how big I want to build this thing and how successful we want to be together. So for those of you who already have, you'll see your name rolling on the live show at the very end. Thank you for that. Thank you for stepping up as a wingman. In March, I will send out the stickers for the first quarter for those of you who are already pledging to be a patron. So look for those, for the new folks, look for those in your mailbox towards the end of March. So thank you for all of that. First up in this episode is going to be Stephanie. Stephanie writes in, and you're going to love this. Stephanie writes in, she goes, "Hi, Mike. Well, so I answered the 5 questions you asked. Now I'm not quite sure what to do with the information, but I've been thinking about writing in for a while. Some days are better than others. While lately I get all fired up and I want to get back on track, and then stress hits and I'm totally derailed. I seem to go off the deep end with my points so easily these days. I long for the drive I had almost a year ago when I initially signed up. I have struggled with a lot of personal issues while on this journey. Finances, my health, along with my children's health, it's been my biggest stressors. This past weekend, my son had a pretty horrific accident, as active 8-year-olds sometimes experience. He broke 4 front teeth, fractured his skull, and might have broken his nose, all from losing his grip on the jungle gym on the playground. Enter the emotional panic. This time, I didn't eat because I felt such worry for him. I completely melted down after he and his father left for the ER. He couldn't eat, so why should I? The little one follows all the things that the older one does, so you can imagine my husband and I are a sight to behold. It looks more like we're wrangling monkeys than being caring and loving parents. The older one is okay now and quite a bit of pain and has to maintain his broken teeth for a few weeks, but otherwise is okay, thank God. My issue is not so much with junk food that I want to eat, but the stress that leads me to it. I have often wondered if I suffer with depression issues because it seems that no amount of discipline can seem to pull me out of the funk when I hit my lows. When I get to those low points in my journey, stress comes in and just takes over, and sadly I let it. I know this sounds desolate, but I'm trying to figure out what is wrong with me. Why can't I control myself? Here are the answers to my 5 questions, which were strangely easy for me to answer. What do I do from here? Question 1, what are you expecting to get out of this journey? Well, better health, improved self-esteem, forgiveness for myself, and a longer life. Question 2, do you believe you can do this? Most days, yes, I do. On the hard days, I really doubt myself and I want to give up. I asked number 3, what is in your way? And she says, I'm in my way, my head, where my stress leads me. What's the hardest thing you ever had to do in your life? And the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life is giving birth to 2 beautiful babies. Number 5, who is ultimately responsible for your success? I am. So maybe I should get out of my own way. How does one separate their brain from their body? Is there an autopilot button I can push to mute all of these crazy thoughts? Best, Stephanie. And then before I had a chance to put this email on the air, in my inbox comes another email. The very next email comes in from Stephanie. It says, well, hi, Mike. I had some time to think about that very depressing email I sent you yesterday. And honestly, in hindsight, it sounded so whiny and dreary. Now that I think of it, I'm almost ashamed that I hit send too quickly. I know you don't do tough love, but I do with myself because I have to. Today, I saw a post of an old friend of mine on Facebook. We're the same age and went to school together when we were younger, and she's had a complete knee replacement surgery and now walks with a cane. Her post brought tears to my eyes. She talked about committing to change and letting go of the things in life that haven't served her. She has 2 young, beautiful girls and a loving husband. This made me wake up a bit. I have so much in my life to be grateful for. I can't believe how easily I get swept up and away with the blues and just thinking too far, too much. I got on the scale this morning, up again, but with new resolve to not mope and whine and let myself down. I will get this done. I will lose what I set out to lose, even as I embark on year 2 of this journey. I have faced setbacks and hardships, yes, and there may be more in my future, but there is so much in life to look forward to. Look, I woke up today. I'm breathing. That alone is a blessing. I just need a little push here and there when I get discouraged and start to stress eat. In fact, I think that's a term I need to completely eliminate from my vocabulary. FYI, I've been thinking about my workplace, also a source of big stress. It's a diet trap in so many ways. I have to avoid that minefield at all costs. I'm working from home today, and it's given me peace, clarity, and a new resolve to get my head back in the game and get back to business. I know I can do this. Thanks for listening to my somewhat neurotic rambling and whiplashing change of emotions. You're the best, Mike. And by the way, I think you're on the right path, and change can be scary. Trust me, I know. However, you're tremendously good at what you do on air, and with WhysAdvice, this will propel you forward. God has blessed you in so many ways, and in return, your presence, guidance, stewardship, and eternal positive outlook has helped me and so many people. Keep up the good work. Best, Stephanie. Stephanie, thank you for both of those emails. And so, hey, listen, I totally get where you're at. You don't ever have to apologize for anything you send into the podcast, because as I know about this journey more than anything, this journey is so much in our head. It absolutely is. And so every once in a while, it's really cool when we take a moment and just send it out, right? And we just kind of release it. I do that from time to time. Again, I go ahead and type things up and I send them to the internet. I have a special place where I can send things that don't get read. And so, but that release is what I'm looking for. So not even for a second do I want you to apologize for sending 2 emails back to back. The first one, I didn't pick up the whininess at all that you claim is in here. What I picked up was life. I picked up that you're going through real life and you have a real challenge on your hands. Your 8-year-old son, your pride and joy, your baby, fell down, broke his teeth, fractured his skull, and broke his nose. I don't know too many people on the planet that would take that with anything but stress. So you're completely normal in that sense. When you ask, why can't I control myself? What is wrong with me? You got a lot going on. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. What it means is you got a lot going on. So this is when the time comes in where we have to say, okay, I have a lot going on. And I'm doing this currently, so I can tell you exactly what I'm going through. I have a lot going on. You have a lot going on. There are different things going on. But what we now do, we sit down with our list and we say, okay, let me prioritize the things I have going on in my life. And we draw a line. And at some point, something doesn't make the cut. And that's okay. And as long as you're above the line, as long as your family's above the line, everything else at that point will come in and say, I'll get this done, and I'll take care of me, and I'll take care of the things above the list, and I'll do it. Now, I want you to take a moment to think about, I asked the 5 questions to how to develop your why. How do we get into this mindset where we get going? You did a great job with the 5 questions, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to dig a little deeper. When I ask you to write down the answer to these 5 questions, here's what I'm thinking is probably going to happen. I'm thinking I give you 5 questions. I'm thinking you're going to spend 5 to 10 minutes or more on each question. I'm thinking the whole exercise is about an hour of writing. Now, I know that's probably a lot. I know that's a little extreme. But what I want you to do is when you said, what are you expecting to get out of this journey? Better health, improved self-esteem, forgiveness for myself, and a longer life. I want you to expand on that. What does that mean? What does forgiveness from myself mean? What does improved self-esteem mean? What's wrong with the self-esteem now that you don't like, that you want to fix? When you get to the point when you say, I have improved self-esteem, how will you know when you get there? What does better health mean? How can you measure it? You want to live a healthy, longer life. Define that. So if you take each of the 5 questions and you dig a lot deeper and you spend some real time with them and you really lay it all out to the point where you're almost bringing tears when you finally hit the emotional root. And then what I want you to do is I want you to read this thing often. I would say daily, but I'm a little bit realistic. And so what I want you to do is I want you to read it at least once a week, but probably a couple times a week. And so as you go through them and you read it a couple times a week, what happens is, one, you get a little more clarity into them. You may add to it as you read it. But more importantly is you're reminding yourself often what the goal was and where you started and where you want to be and what the game plan looks like. So that's what you got going on. In your last question, you say, is there an autopilot button that you can push to mute all these crazy thoughts? Well, I got good news for you. There actually is an autopilot button. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to make this whole journey autopilot. Right now, most of us are already on autopilot, and that's what led us here. We have these habits that we do daily, often, that led us to this room. What I want you to do is I want you to now disengage the autopilot for a little bit, turn it off, and then start developing healthy, stress-free habits. Those healthy habits will then turn back on as autopilot, and that's your new life. You do that by setting attendance goals. You do that by setting small things that you know you can accomplish every single day. You do that by going one step further and going into that gratitude space that you started up on your second email. And you said, I want to be grateful for life, and you can't believe how easily you get swept away with the blues. If you spend every morning doing that exercise and saying, you know what, I woke up today. I'm breathing today. I'm convinced there are 1 million people on this planet. 1 million people would trade everything they have to live a day in your life. And you think about that for just a moment, right? And so there are people right now that are just absolutely struggling, terribly struggling, and they would trade everything they have to be you for a day. And so what I want you to do is I want you to not make that trade. I want you to understand that the reason they're willing to make the trade is because they look at what you have and they say, I want that. And then as you wake up every single morning and take an inventory of what you actually have that you're not willing to trade away, and then what happens is slowly but surely that list continues to evolve. And you start thinking of all the amazing things that are going right in your life. And when you focus on all the things that are going right in your life, you don't have time to dwell on the things that aren't going so well and so perfectly. You hit them for a second, you reevaluate, you find the positive in that situation, you jot it down, and you move forward. Now, the story with your son, surely that is an out-of-the-ordinary kind of event. If that event happens to you weekly, different conversation. That's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You're going to get through it. Wrap your son in your arms, give him a big hug, let him know that his mom and his dad are here for him and care for him. And that's why you running around looking like you're juggling a bunch of monkeys, but you're not. You're being amazing parents, the best that you know how, in a situation that you've never had to deal with before. There's no manual on if your kid falls on the playground, here's what to do. So as you're going through all of this, going through a job change, going through all the other stress you have going on in your life, much of it are things that you didn't have before. You haven't gone through them before, so you certainly can be kind of caught off guard when they show up. It's why I need you to rely on your autopilot. I need you to develop some healthy habits along the way so that when these stresses come up, you can react to them. You can adjust to them, and then as things start settling down, you get right back to the new you, to the new life that you've developed. That's what the autopilot is. That's what we're building. That's what you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job, by the way, and so that's where the time is to celebrate. You've been doing this for 2 years. Congratulations. That is fantastic because, you know what? You've gotten to the point where you now know that you can attend consistently. You can attend regularly. You understand the program way deeper than you ever understood it. There's very little at this point that I can tell you that you don't already know. Now it's time to apply it and move forward. Stephanie, this is not neurotic rambling. This is not a whiplashing and changing emotions. This is why we're here. This is life. This is you dealing with life in a public forum, which isn't exactly easy either. But I think you're a rock star. I think you're getting it done. And I truly, truly appreciate both of your emails. And it's an honor to walk this journey with you. So thanks again for all that you've done for me. You know what I'm talking about. You're the absolute best. At a time when I needed you, you came through. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Next up, out of Indianapolis, Maggie writes in and says, hey, FatDag. And Maggie's joining us live on Facebook. She says, "Hey, FatDag, this is Maggie from episode 207. I thought it was time for a quick update since February 15th was my 2-year WW anniversary. I continue to remain at goal and maintain my lifetime status. Thank you for podcast episode number 252. On this podcast, you talked along the lines of the need for balance, the food, the fitness, and the fun. It was like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. I felt it was the motivation I needed to enjoy my new life. I'm no longer a stressing mess about keeping my lifetime status. I know that I will because I have the tools that I need. And now I hear you in my head saying it's okay to enjoy life as long as there is balance. I bought a treadmill and I'm working fitness back into my balance. I have quieted the voice of guilt that I was hearing and feeling often during this phase of my journey. I am happy and content with my new lifestyle. I am living my best life full of food, fitness, and fun. FatDag, you're the best. Maggie from Indianapolis, and Maggie is Maggie H60 on Connect and Facebook. Maggie, 2 years, lifetime, and goal in your anniversary. Congratulations. What an amazing, amazing accomplishment. Now, I had the luxury of having a little bit of a conversation with you briefly to get a little more insight into this email. I'm going to share that part of it here. I believe a lot in this journey. And if you've followed me from day one, or if you've listened to the podcast from all the way episode 1, you will notice there is a change in how I've approached this entire thing. And I wouldn't change a thing about the order of which I did it. I believe it's critical that when you start this program, you give it your all. You go all in and you work your tail off and you find success. Whatever it takes, at all costs, you get there. And that's important. Because what happens is during this journey, you need to understand what goal feels like. You need to have that feeling of hopping on the scale, not wanting to lose weight. You need to experience that. There is no other feeling on the planet like it. And then in order to maintain that, some of us have to do it slightly different. We have to bring in a little bit of balance. And in my case, I went all in extreme. I was very regimented, making sure I was cutting Cheetos in half is the joke that I use, right? Very important for me to have done that. And then as wellness was introduced, what I realized is that I made goal, but I wasn't healthy completely. Sure, I weighed less. Sure, I was able to work out more. But one of the things that was missing from my life was a healthy relationship with food. Now, I'd managed food. I'd managed to control it. I managed to control it by ignoring it, pushing it aside, and not having to deal with it. It was very easy for me to say no in many social engagements and just not go. Well, that takes the fun out of life. So when I say now we want to bring some balance in and we want to have a balance between food, fitness, and fun, what I mean is that we want to get to the point where if someone offers us an invite somewhere and we want to go, that our first reaction shouldn't be, I wonder what the food's going to be when I get there. I mean, when's the last time any of us have went to a wedding and we dreaded what the food was when we went there? But as we're doing this journey, we do that. And I'm promising you that no one plans a wedding. Of course they care about the food, but that's not a detail that we focus on. So what I don't want to have happen is as we go through this journey is I've heard a bunch of different stories about the stress that food brings into our life. I've heard stories of people who have planned their day. They've gone to eat lunch. They've ordered a hamburger. The hamburger comes back with cheese on it, and it ruins their day because you can't pick it off, and now you're sending it back. And now, if you're allergic to cheese or you don't like cheese, different conversation. But if you just strictly were trying to save the 2 or 3 points, and it comes out accidentally with cheese on it, what I don't want to have happen is I don't want you to be at the point where you go, my day is ruined. Especially if you're forced to eat it because of whatever the scenario is. I heard another story not long ago of someone who ordered a salad, and inside the salad was bacon. And they didn't know until it arrived, and now stress over this food, of someone making a healthy, conscious choice, not exactly getting what they ordered, close but no cigar, and then stressing over it and allowing that to ruin the event. That is not a healthy relationship with food. A healthy relationship with food is where you now can say, I understand what this does. I'm not choosing it. I'm choosing this for no other reason than I actually want it. I'm tracking it. I'm being accountable to it. I'm using it and having it in moderation. That is that healthy relationship with food that we're after. And so that only comes to me, that only shows up once we get to the point where we have now gotten to a place in our journey where we've hit goal, we've hit lifetime, or come very close, and we understand now that we can control the rest of the journey. When we get the food under control, then we get the fitness under control. We add activity. We buy a treadmill just like you did, working fitness back in, and then having some fun in life. Those three things together is what you're after. I mean, if you get down to 120 pounds and you look fantastic, but you stay home the entire day and you don't do any sort of activity, well, what fun is that? What's the point of getting to goal if you're not going to go celebrate and hang out with your friends? So there's a fine line, right? And so a lot of times when we try and bring this balance thing in too soon, and we say we want to have a good relationship with food, we want to have a good relationship with fitness, a good relationship with fun, what happens often is the food and the fun take the priority, the fitness takes the back seat, and then we don't have the success that we're capable of. Because we aren't able to balance the three properly, we aren't able to eat in moderation, and we aren't able to control the fun in moderation, and we go back to our old lifestyle. Maggie, you've done fantastic. You look amazing. You're absolutely a joy to be around. So that's goal for me. And if the scale says that number is 2 or 3 pounds up from where you're at now, congratulations. I don't believe there's ever going to be a chance when the scale's going to say you're up 50, 60 pounds again. I believe now that you understand how good it feels to be where you're at, and the difference in your world between 2 to 5 pounds or 10 pounds even isn't going to be significant enough to bring you back to the point where you were miserable and hated everything about this journey. That's the piece I want to share with you. You're doing fantastic work. No longer having the stress about keeping your lifetime status. That's up to you where you want to take that. I'm a firm believer is if you're happy and if you're healthy, you can determine if you want to shell the money out to continue being in that stage. I think it's worth every penny. But you get to decide where you want to be. So keep up the great work. Really, like I said, you're doing an outstanding job. Don't stress over it. We'll continue to check in often, and we will certainly monitor the situation. Just have some limits, right? I think you know that. Have some limits as to what's acceptable, what's not. Recognize that maybe somewhere down the road, if the old habits creep themselves in too much, the cool thing is you now know that you have all the tools you need to dial it back in and to get control. So anyway, keep up the amazing work. Always good to hear from you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Last email of this episode 257, Lori writes in and says, hey, FatDag. Hello, I'm a fallen lifetime member that is back on the program for the third try since gaining it all back. I've lost 15 pounds this go around, but it is so slow. I'm a mom to 8 children and 2 grandchildren, divorcee and college student about to graduate with my bachelor's. My biggest issue is physical activity and not giving into the high point snacks when on campus studying. I know what to do. I just need some more accountability and encouragement. I found you on Connect, joined your group, and started listening to the podcast. I can relate even more because I was in the Marine Corps pre-children. I understand the whole PT test issue. Well, please give me some advice and ideas to get through this last few months of my undergrad and hopefully my graduate program. I just applied for the master's. I'm going into public health. I know the dangers of being overweight. I've studied nutrition. I know what to do. I'm just stuck in a rut. I'm the typical poor college student at this point, so finances aren't abundant, and I'm trying to feed the last 3 teenagers at home as well, so family-friendly, teen-approved ideas would be helpful. I appreciate your willingness to be transparent It means so much to the rest of us who are struggling. In the spirit of good health, Lori. Lori, this is going to kind of sound kind of weird, and here's what I want to tell you. First of all, thank you for your service in the Marine Corps, something I certainly couldn't do, so proud of you for that. So you understand discipline, you understand fitness, that part you at least understand it. You understand, you know what to do, you understand the public health, you know the dangers of being overweight, you've studied nutrition, so there is nothing I'm going to be able to tell you at this point you don't already know, have practiced, and understand. What I need for you to do now is understand the application. You're in the middle of getting a bachelor's degree as a mom of 8 who's struggling, with finances aren't abundant, and you're making it work. And you've set an additional goal to get a master's degree. I want you to take a moment and just think about what I just said. You're a mom of 8 who's going to school full-time, who's going to eventually get her master's. And through all of this, you're trying to figure it out. I would say you rock. Maggie throws it out on Facebook, you rock. And Carrie follows up with, Lori, you're amazing. That's where I'm going with this. Now, as you have a few months of your undergrad, there are snacks that they're on campus while you're studying. I'm not going to tell you to go into them, but what I'm going to tell you is you have a goal in your life right now. Your goal is to get your master's degree. Your bachelor's and then your master's. Your goal is to take care of your family. Your goal is also to take care of you. Balancing the 3 of those, there may come a time when the degree and the family takes a little bit of a priority. Not significant. I always want you to put ourselves first. I've said that more than once. But I think in this case, what I'm asking you to do is evaluate what that means. If that means that you're on campus studying late, and the only option you have is a high point snack, then so be it. Track it, be accountable to it, move on. Understand what that's doing, and then the next opportunity, try and make a point to bring something when those things come up. There are so many healthy alternatives that just given a few moments of preparation, you can make that substitution. But what I heard in your email and what I want to push away out of your email is the guilt associated with doing that. Here you are, a mom of 8, working her tail off to get a degree, and you should have 0 guilt on any choice that you make. Can we do better? Of course we can, right? We can always make changes. You're a lifetime member who at one point figured this out. You're currently down 15 pounds. You have figured this out. Nothing I can tell you can change that. So what I'm asking you to do is keep doing what you're doing, the highs and the lows. Continue to do everything you did to get to your lifetime status the first time. Get back to goal, because you're currently a lifetime member now. You don't ever lose your lifetime status. You're always a lifetime member. Whether you're at goal or not is your choice and your definition. But this go around, you're down 15 pounds. It is slow because you're probably doing it correctly. You're probably now understanding that you have the ability to do this and you want to do it right, but with all the other things that you got going on, you're balancing it just perfectly. The time between your undergrad and your master's would be a time to reevaluate and make a different plan to how you're going to attack the bachelor or the master's degree differently than you attack the bachelor's. That's when it's time to reassess, reboot, revalidate. Show your children what it's like to live a happy, healthy life. Model the behavior you want them to be and do. Coming home, I'm sure you're exhausted, but with an opportunity on weekends to hang out with the family, a nice neighborhood walk and walking a dog, buy them a pet, right? Take a pet around and walk for a neighborhood. Little things like that certainly add up. And so the most important thing that you can teach your children is that you are amazing, that you're working your tail out to provide a better life, and that you are living your life free of guilt and shame over something that you're working very hard to control. I'm proud of you. I really am proud of you. I think you're an amazing accomplishment for all the things that you've done, starting off with service in the Marine Corps, and then going on to get your degree, and then being a mom of 8. I can't even imagine how awesome you had to have been to do any single one of those, yet here you are getting them all done, to include being a lifetime member. Lori, congratulations. Keep up the amazing work. Let me know when you get your bachelor's, and we'll discuss it again then, and then we'll roll right into your master's program, and you will build a much better life for you and your family. And at that point, we'll jump up and down and celebrate. What is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to fatdag.com, click on the WhysAdvice podcast link, send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. That's how this show works. You email in, I read it, no show, no email. It's kind of how it works. Send them in. I want you to email them in the celebrations. I really want you to be proud of what you're doing. I think it's cool when you write in, and I think a lot of people say this in their email, is that when you finally take the time to write it, it's just that emotional release of letting it out is where the victory is. I want you to do that. Send it in. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Whoop, whoop. 257 in the books. Semper Fi. Lee, yep, I like it. Debbie says, go ahead and read mine. I know it's in there. I had to find a way to work it in for sure. Yep, for sure. Let's see. Lisa's got to run, you all. So good to see you. Oops, I should stop recording. All right, so we're done recording. Low battery. Woo! I stopped recording and it died. Hopefully it's there. It powered itself off. So that's not good. But at least it was recording before I turned the power off, so that's good. Woo! Anyway, on that note, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up early, right? It's early for me. My throat is killing me. It hurts. There was a couple times during the show, like, I should have had more water. Janice is on YouTube. So, but cool. Anna says, I will have to listen again tomorrow. I got here late. Yeah. I got it. Ronaldo says, good advice tonight. Yep. Yeah. Debbie says, great job. Dies at the end. Yeah, I mean, I hit stop recording and the whole thing said low battery, powered off. So it saved the episode. But we'll see tomorrow. Let's see. That's all I got for this show, really. Glenda says, feel better. I hope that's the plan. I know. Can you imagine? I mean, if I get a sore throat, man, we're done. Ooh, so I should probably not talk anymore. We're going to work on that. So, all right. On that note, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Always appreciate your support. For those of you over here who've signed up to be a patron, thank you. You're keeping this whole thing running, and more to come on the game plan for the studio. A little bit of a tidbit. Today was the studio design team was downstairs, and they took a gazillion measurements, measured every single square inch of this room that I'm going to turn into our new studio. You want a little bit of a snippet of the game plan for the studio? No, I'll tell you later. I'll save it as a surprise. We'll do that. I got a big plan for that. So you're gonna like what I got planned, but I'll share that with you in the future. So again, thank you for being here. Thanks for always being great support, and we will see you on the next episode. Let's try and get it in another one in this week. That's the game plan, right? So on that note, I wish you guys good focus. Good night. Bye.